Hi, so my name's Jo, and I've been asked to do a little video about counselling and how I got into it and what I do and a bit about I think I'll talk a bit about what it's like for clients maybe as well, because I've been a client too. So part of my background and why I got into it was that what took me to counselling was that I had a bit of a period of feeling pretty low in my self-esteem, and I worked hard on myself and worked through that a little bit, and part of that was going to counselling. And my counsellor that I was working with, and a counsellor who happened to be in shows with me, he's still a counsellor now. He Both of them said to me, Jo, you would make an excellent counsellor. So that's why, and then I started to think about it, and I thought, do you know what? Maybe they're right. Maybe I should be a counsellor, and because I've always enjoyed helping people. So that's how I got into counselling, and so more about what I do. At the moment, I've just handed in the last bits to actually qualify. So I've handed in the last essays, and they're being marked right now. And also to qualify as a counsellor, I had to do 100 hours. So I've now done over 130. I've done 135 counselling sessions, and that was through a male mental health charity called Pegasus. Definitely recommend them for anyone, by the way. They have a female mental health side as well as a male mental health side. But anyway, yeah, I've done 135 sessions with them now, and I've done those sessions in a few ways as well, because I've done phone counselling, I've done online counselling as well as face-to-face counselling. Most of it was face-to-face, but I've done quite a lot of online and phone counselling. And the way that I work is person-centred. So it involves a lot of offering a lot of empathy and a really safe, non-judgmental space for people to come and speak about whatever they want to, knowing that they can do that completely confidentially, can't speak, and without being judged. I mean, there are times when confidentiality would need to be talked about if there were worries about safeguarding and things like that, but that would always be discussed with the client before confidentiality was breached. And so the way I work is, like I say, I do a lot of listening and offering empathy and giving a space for people to open up, but also there's a lot of reflection back. I'll talk about what I've heard people say and ask them what that actually means for them, and get them to reflect on what the words they're saying actually really mean to them. And sometimes I'll just reflect back the words, and the clients hadn't really thought about what those words actually meant for them, and that becomes a kind of, and the therapy is in then the kind of light bulb moment that happens in those times. But I'm also trained in Gestalt and a bit of CBT as well, so I tend to work in a collaborative way. So the person-centered stuff tends to delve a bit further into what caused the mental health issues that clients might be having in the first place. And the CBT, the cognitive behavioural therapy, gives them exercises to cope with things like the anxiety in the moment. And I use things like I use empty chair, which is part of Gestalt therapy, and that's all about living in the moment as well. But empty chair is really whereby you can do it in all sorts of ways, but it sometimes I use it very much when people are having difficult relationships with whoever it happens to be, mum, dad, brother, sister, friend, or even romantic partner, and you can put that person in the empty chair and actually say the things that you want to say to them without them actually being there, which then gives you confidence that you might be able to say it to them eventually, or even not, because even if you don't say it to them face to face, you've actually gotten your thoughts out, and that's really important. And that's basically the idea of counselling as well, is that you don't internalize things which is really bad for us, and it, if we internalize things, it can have all sorts of effects on our mental health as well as actually our physiology. But yeah, so that's how and why I got into counselling, and what I actually do, and hopefully counselling benefits everyone that comes to it.